Alhamdulillah, as an African Muslim, it's very important for us to stay away from satanic questions. What are satanic questions? Satanic questions are questions that are irrational and that are a means of confusion for Muslims in order for you to stray from the straight path. So be very careful. And of course, all Muslims and all people should stay away and refrain from asking or even answering these questions. But again, this series is strictly for African Muslims, but everyone can benefit. I'll give you one example, but I believe that this is the only example that I've actually encountered. And this example is that a person will ask an African, are you black first or are you Muslim first? Are you African first or are you Muslim first? Usually it's, are you black first or are you Muslim first? This is a satanic question, excuse me. It's very irrational. It doesn't make any sense. Now, this question does not make sense because being African and being Muslim cannot be compared. You can't compare these two things. They're completely different. They're two completely different things. In order for me to point out its falsity and its fallacy, we have to define both Muslim and African. What does it mean to be African? And what does it mean to be Muslim? Being African just means that your lineage goes all the way back to the people of Africa, right? Or being black, in a sense, means that your lineage goes back to African continent. And being a Muslim means that you are a practitioner, of Islam, that you practice Islam. What does that mean? That you are dutiful to your parents, that you pray 5 times a day, that you feed the poor, you're kind to your neighbors, so on and so forth. So if you rephrase the question, then you'll see the fallacy and problem in the question, inshallah. So let's rephrase the question. Are you African first, or are you a person who is dutiful to their parents first? Does it make sense? Are you African first, or are you a person who prays 5 times a day first? It does not make sense. Are you African first, or are you a person who gives charity to their parents first? I mean, give charity period first. Those two you cannot compare them to. I am an African who prays 5 times a day. I am an African who gives charity. I am an African who is dutiful to my parents, so on and so forth. But to ask if I'm African first or if I'm Muslim first, those two things do not compare, and the question does not make sense whatsoever, and it is a trick of Satan that can lead you or may lead you to greater issues if you prolong pondering and reflecting over this question. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So be very careful.